Welcome to myprojectbazaar.com. Our project title: A Novel Recommendation Model Regularized with User Trust and Item Ratings. Our project abstract: we propose Trust SVD, a trust-basis matrix factorization technique for recommendation. Trust SVD integrates multiple information sources into recommendation model to reduce the data sparsity and cold start problems and their degradation of recommendation performance. An analysis of social trust data from 4 real-world datasets suggests that not only the explicit but also implied influence of both ratings and trust should be taken into the consideration in a recommendation model. Trust SVD therefore builds on top of a state-of-the-art recommendation algorithm SVD++, which uses the explicit and implicit influence of rated items by further incorporating both the explicit and the implicit influence of trusted and trusting users on the predictions of items for an active users. The proposed technique is the first to extend SVD++ with social trust information. Experimental results on the 4 data sets demonstrate that Trust SVD achieves better accuracy than other 10 counterparts recommendation techniques. Our data flow diagram. In the data flow diagram, first we want to select the user selection. In the user selection, it mentioned the datasets and dataset 2. We have 2 datasets to load in the database. In the first dataset, it mentioned the trust, and the second dataset, it mentioned the user's rating. The user's rating is comparison to the related of application, and the trust related to the user's ID. The users can be a certain members in users. For example, we can take a certain number of users. Consideration of n number of users. There is a trust between the trusters and the trustee. The truster can be a user's IDs and the trustee can be a trusted users. After that, we want to load the datasets, 2 datasets into a database. In the dataset loading, after that we have a pre-processing methods in a data mining. In the pre-process methodology, it makes that unwanted and null values from the datasets have been removed from the database. After that, we want to compare the trusting and the rating of applications related to the user's ID in a rating selection. In the rating selection, it compares the 2 data sets. After that, the user gives a random selection. The random selection mentions the application's IDs or the user ID of a trusted. The related ratings can be calculated to the related users or a trusted basis of the applications. The ratings can be predicted to the related applications, and the predicted rating can be further moved to calculate the trusters and the trustees basis. In the trusted basis, we can separate the trusted applications, and in the trustee basis, we can separate the trustee users and the both applications in it. After that, the random rating can be predicted related to the applications. In the random rating, we can done a certain process to make the trustee users and the trusted IDs. The graph can be present that the predictions and the scalability. In the scalability, it mentioned that the proposed and the existing of processed and the time functioned in it. In the trustee basis and the trusted ratings can also be mentioned in it related to the graph. It mentioned that the rating given by the users of both the trusted user and the trustee users. Our project demo: a novel recommendation model regularized with the user trust and item ratings. First, we want to run the home.java to start our process. Click on it and right click, run file. This is our home page. After clicking on the pages, any pages, it goes to the dataset loading. First, we want to load the trust datasets. Choose the dataset. This is the content in the dataset. We want to load in it. The dataset can be loaded in the databases. After that, we want to pre-process in it. Click pre-process. This is the pre-process state. In this process, we have removed the null values and the unwanted values. After that, we want to load the second dataset, rating dataset. Choose the dataset. Click on rating dataset. So content mentioned in the rating dataset. In the dataset, it mentioned that the user ID and the item ID and the rating values. In the pre-process, we have removed the unwanted data and the null values. For example, zeros, ratings, or etc. After that, comparing that, we want to select the user IDs, any of the user IDs. This is the related ratings and the related trustee values. This is the related similarity trustee and the trusted rating values can be calculated related to the rating mentioned in it. For example, we have calculated the related trusted ID for a trustee and the rating values, and the similarity values can be calculated. In this graph, we mentioned that the rating per users of for example, we have selected a certain user ID for a rating per users and the ratio for that. Later, the ratio of users can be calculated related to the similarity values. In this graph, it mentioned that the existing in a proposed system of the trusted degree. In the proposed, we have a high trusted degree. Related, we have calculated the trusted degree related to the trustee using the certain user IDs and the rating values. The rating value can be taken related to the trustee basis. For example, if we choose a user ID to a related trustees, we have calculated the trustee and the rating values of our related trustee values. In this graph, it mentioned that the scalable mentioned that the performance and the time calculation of the process. For example, we use a certain data sets, for example, training time and the ratio of the time functionality and the methodologies users in it. Thank you.